Unrealism.
3, 2, 1. Let's get it.
You're recording?
Yes, sir. We're live
Okay,
to the whole nation.
awesome. Dude, because I got an interesting question, and I think we can chat about it for a while. Okay?
Okay.
So I want you to see something.
I love how prepared you are for this talk. All right.
A package just came in.
Okay. What are we looking at here?
Okay, and just look. It's like it's a pretty big mess all around. But look at this fucking monitor,
Oh, that's gangster.
dude.
How much is that thing?
It's 49-inch ultra. It's called a super ultra wide.
Okay.
49
49-inch.
49 inches. So when you measure it diagonally, it's 49.
Yeah. What are you compensating?
Super ultra wide, and it costed me like close to $1,400 after tax.
Oh, wow.
So I got it on Black Friday. Like normally it's even more expensive.
Yeah, those things are pricey, man. That's cool.
But here's the thing, like what I was using before was a 7-8-year-old laptop and like a really cheap monitor that's just sitting there. It's like tiny. It was like this, right?
Mhm.
And before that, I wasn't even using a second monitor. I was basically just doing everything off of my laptop. So I was like, okay, I'm at home basically all day, every day. I'm running my business now. I need to be serious about the tools, right? Like
Yep.
I can't just be some motherfucker like working on a laptop. I mean, I could, but I'm like, okay, let's invest because it'll make me feel better. My eyes will feel better, whatever. And dude, I've just been on this fucking week-long rabbit hole of upgrading everything. Because now I'm just like, I have such a great monitor. Like I was gonna upgrade the computer. Let's upgrade the computer. Oh, now I need a better mouse. Now I'm just like, I want better lights. I want a better rug. I got a better chair. And all my time is now like, oh fuck, like this will make me a little bit better, but I'm spending so much time figuring it out. Like, look, I've got fucking 2 monitors. I need to keep one. I got another one coming because I want to test it.
Mhm.
But when does that stop, right? Hopefully soon. But that's kind of what I'm interested in chatting with you about. Because I'm sure a lot of people have different viewpoints. Like somebody wants to be like super comfortable. They want all the tech gadgets. They need to be in an aesthetic environment. Everything needs to be like feng shuied, and then they can do their best work. But some fuckers, they're in a shack or a closet on a tiny like 12-inch laptop and they're just getting shit done, right?
Fair. But I
So that's
think
kind of,
I think equipment's really important. I found that in art, like I used to I'm like, red paint is red paint, until I bought like the $40 tube of red paint that's this small in comparison to like, this is like $5, right? And then I go, whoa, this, like, it's not red paint, it's magic now, and
so
then
you're a changed man.
Yeah, like I mean, when you're in school, you go, okay, I just need red paint, whatever. And then you go, how do I elevate my game a little bit? And part of it's equipment, which sucks because it's a lot of money, but it's just what you do. And when you upgrade it, not only like, I don't know, I feel a little bit better. There's like it plays a little trick with your mind, oh, I'm using really expensive stuff, so my strokes have to be a little bit better too. But the pigment is richer, and I don't know, like when I upgraded, remember in Toronto, I got like the best canvas that I could find.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy fuck, I'm never going back to the cheap stuff, because you just feel it. You feel it in the quality. And then, but for you, your whole thing is tech, right? So if you have the means to do it, why not upgrade all that stuff? So that's cool. I want that screen too. I've been eyeing those things for a bit.
It's fucking crazy. It was the right time. Like from a jump, like I was 24, normal panel before, to like this is like a curved VA. This is like too much real estate. I'm getting a little distracted just because I have all this shit everywhere, but I need to like, it's like a different workflow I'm trying to learn, right?
Right. And I think it just puts you up on a bit of a higher standard,
But here's a really immature thing though. Okay. Have you seen Iron Man?
Yeah, like
the first one.
Yeah.
So there's a scene in the beginning of the movie. I think he gets like fucking attacked by a missile or something, and he's like in a shack, and he has to basically rebuild himself or like create that fucking thing in his chest. But I've always, and this is a fault of my own, I've always romanticized like that scene because it just shows like the grit and kind of like just sheer willpower can get amazing results. I know it's like dramatized through Hollywood, but it's a thing. It's like people do really outrageous things or like what's the right word I'm using for it? They excel in poor environments. And I've always romanticized that. Like I even like fault myself and put myself at a disadvantage to see how much shit I can take, which I'm finding is not very healthy. You know what I mean?
I think there's something to it. For sure. Because we are a product of our environment, right? Just on the basis of it. But man, if you're recording your music, like try to use your best mic. But this is the way I would look at it. In that 10% time that you spend making your craft, fuck it up, mess up your process, right? As soon as you get comfortable, mess up your process, and maybe start painting with soy sauce, you know, like I did in Toronto, or like sing in a really shitty room with a terrible echo, because that might add to the aesthetic of everything, or it'll fuck your creative mind up a little bit for you to just step out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? So maybe we should perform our crafts in like a cave once in a while, and then come back to our, to our like 49-inch screens with our upgraded mouse and mics and all that stuff.
Okay, so what you're saying is use it as perspective, but don't live in a cave.
No, don't live.
You're saying, yeah, don't live in a cave. Because I'm like,
it's funny the cave. I was just talking to Leon, our friend Leon, and he's like, "Hey Boris, I just started meditating. Like, any tips?" type of thing. And he's like, "Any tips on meditation apps?" And we've talked about this many times before. You and I butt heads on meditation apps.
Yeah.
And my response is always, Hindus didn't use meditation apps in the caves, so why are we using that crutch? Just get off your training wheels and just jump into it and start meditating like a real fucking monk. Be a monk.
Right. Okay. So here's okay.
It's a little different from what we're talking about, but
no, I know. I do see what you're talking about, because it's perspective. Okay. So who do we aspire to be? And this is a question that it's top of mind right now. If we aspire to be like those Hindu monks or whatever you're referencing, we're gonna just do it with nothing. We're gonna pretend we're in the Stone Age and not have anything. Or do we aspire to be the UFOs and the future civilization of humankind, and try to take all the tools and use the curve of evolution to our favor?
Because then are we right now?
Right? Because we're aspiring. If I keep this mentality, I'm like, I want to be that guy that just fucking gets shit done with like the shittiest tools, but just I think it's like a dick measuring contest too. It's like, see how much I can do with so little. Mm-hmm. When I see a guy like achieving the same success or more with shittier equipment, like it's almost envy. Like, fuck, this guy or girl could get it done with less.
Right.
But that guy from like India that started a crazy tech startup, just like, he's not in Silicon Valley, but he's about like, I'm sure it's super rare. The odds of succeeding in that case are super low. But I'm trying to change that. Like, do I aspire to be that guy, or do I aspire to be, the alien from the future that has every tool and just like doesn't play with sticks and stones and wheels anymore? He's floating and he's got a fucking like virtual reality headset on, just doing everything. Like,
right. But he's still moving forward by looking at the past techniques and studying history as well. Even the alien does. I think it comes down to just skill. Your 10,000 hours, you just skill. How much sweat you put into your craft. But then it also comes down to character, and they're always flowing in a parallel to me. Customato talks about this, and Tyson, right? Have you heard Customato's speeches before?
No.
he should be all over YouTube, teaching people shit, because
Okay.
he talks about fighters who are just technically gifted, who are just made of steel, punch holes in brick walls, right? But he's like, those are never the greatest fighters. They'll never defeat a true fighter in that, like, when you're both tired and you just want to give up. That extra bit is character, right? And to become a legend, I think it's also character, and character is built through not working out in a fancy gym where you have Hollywood coach. It's like holding a massive tree on your shoulders and like running with it and then chucking it and whatever the fuck they do, right?
Yeah.
Like that stuff builds a different type of character, so I think for our example, it's the use of both. It's to not forget.
Who's that? Khabib.
Yeah.
It's like him growing up in Russia and wrestling
bears and shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
that's
like,
different. Man, the fear that a bear will instill in you is something else, and then you can judo that fear in your in your martial art.
Well, that's character. That's why that's why street smarts are like, if you can build skill on top of street smarts, you've got a huge edge. You've got the technical chops and you've got the EQ, social EQ, to navigate. So I think, okay, as I'm talking through this with you, it's almost like, put yourself at advantages where it sees fit, but make sure you don't lose your character.
Build your character.
Keep building your character. You can upgrade your gear. I'm just justifying it to
character
myself.
is also I think life experience and just evolving and finding your true self. And like, why do we like McGregor? At first glance, he's a cocky fuck, and we go, fuck this guy. He's not the real deal. But then you keep watching him, and he brings an entertainment factor to all the pre-fight talks and all that stuff, right? He swings his arms like a buffoon, and we love it. You kind of get addicted to that stuff. And then you have another fighter, the opposite of like Muhammad Ali, who like can't really talk in the prelims. He doesn't, like, his shit talk sucks, and the character is missing, So I think to be like the truest legend in your field, you have to have that full package, and you have to keep building on it. You know what I mean?
But, okay, I'm sure there have been some former champions without an ounce of like character,
and we don't remember them. We remember Ali, we remember Tyson, we remember Sugar Ray. Let's move on to other crafts. Who do you remember in music? You remember like people who had a little bit more swag, a little more.
Yeah, even business. Because now I'm thinking like, Bill Gates is still alive and well, but people don't talk about him like they talk about Jobs, and Jobs has been dead for over a decade. You know what I mean? Like, he's got.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, so.
And Jobs' character went into this products, right? It gave that extra flair, I would say.
Okay, so tying that into the whole tool thing.
Well,
how does that?
Jobs sat in a garage, did a bunch of LSD in the forest.
Yeah.
While the other guy was, studying computer science, and where did he go? Harvard or some shit. And then lived in a mansion, right? I'm pretty sure his parents are rich. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure he had a really, really nice upbringing. And I know a little more about Jobs.
I think for everybody who's starting out, start with the entry level. And this is kind of like some advice I've gotten. It's like, if you don't buy it right, you're gonna buy it twice. It's like everything in life. If you get but you can also, like, instead of jumping into the middle ground, you can get into something for pretty cheap, but when you upgrade, buy it right. That's kind of the mentality I've taken on. So get in, and when I was recording music, and even in business, like when I'm getting shitty software, you want to start with the free trial or whatever, right? You want to get in cheap, cost effective as possible, get the momentum going. And then when you upgrade, that's when you want to invest in yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So So would you say that like when you started with painting and or any craft that anyone wants to do, you get in cheap, you kind of paint on shitty paper, use shitty materials.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the best stuff. You know, I talk about how much I like painting on like the highest quality canvas,
Yeah.
but sometimes like when you use printer paper and you take a bottle of soy sauce out of your fridge and you spray it on and then you use like I don't know, I have this like, here it is. I got this like Chinese brush that I used back in university. I had a like Chinese master painter teach me like some techniques on rice paper and stuff. And this,
Yeah.
the brush is cheap as hell. It's, you know, I have expensive brushes, but there's you know, there's something tied to that brush, like a sentiment. And if I use that with some soy sauce and then throw some ink on top, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes it's more interesting. You know, sometimes use stringing on like an old guitar with, you know, birds singing and like trees rustling in the wind is better than like a quiet room, you know. That's the character. I think where, you know, an old brush will have little strands coming out, little hairs coming out, and that little hair is going to pick up some paint, and it's going to leave a shitty little line that you didn't really want. But that line is a little bit of the character, you know. The quick motions of your strokes where you're like going in with confidence is character.
Yeah, because I can see the character becoming part of your own character, the character of the tool becoming part of your own character. It's
yeah,
like
there were
certain guitarists who have one favorite axe that they just keep using, and they'll never replace, you know, the body, but they'll change the strings or whatever, and they'll just keep that on tour or whatnot. And it's like, it's almost like their good luck charm, right?
Jimi Hendrix, like now we're going into the experimental stuff. He's like, I don't know much about guitars, but I know that he was like strumming in the wrong parts of the guitar to make weird sounds. And master guitar players will look at him like he's nuts, right? Or he'll use his tongue. Old master painter, have you heard of Henry Matisse?
Yeah.
He's like pre-Picasso. He kind of, so his revolutionary aspect was, a lot of it was in sculpture. And when he'd work with bronze or clay, he would like leave his fingerprints and little marks that the older guys came before him wouldn't want. They'd want it fully polished, but he would leave his little fingerprints, and it's like I don't know, it's like a signature in a way, you know. That's character, guys. That's fucking character. Leave your don't make everything clean. Make it you.
Make it you.
I like how we're like wavering from. I feel like we're selling shit for Best Buy right now. We're like product reviewers / like passionate artists.
The amount of like product reviews I've glanced over and YouTube videos I've watched is just absurd. Because it becomes an obsession. And then I definitely lose sight of why I'm actually doing it. Am I doing it to make sure I have the best setup, or am I making sure that I have the best results? Because let me tell you, if it was for like work and music, I've done very little of that the past week. I've been looking through options, you know?
Right.
And I know for a fact, like it's true that like this stuff won't make me make better music or make me close better deals. It won't, but it'll make the experience a little bit easier. But fucking, like, you know John Lennon, right, from the Beatles?
Yeah.
He had this quote that he's like, "Give me a tuba and I'll make it good, sound good," or something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, it's music. I'm a musician. I'm the artist. You give me a tuba, I'll make it sound like something sick, right? Or like those dudes in the classrooms with like a pen and they make a beat, you know?
Yeah, it's the energy behind the you know, the tuba or the drumsticks.
Yeah, so it's I think what we're both on the same page is, don't lose sight of that.
Yeah.
Feel free to experiment and play with that. But where does that leave the whole like upgrading and being that guy with like 10,000 different like paints?
Dude, if you can afford it, all the power to you. all the power to you. But even if you have like all the best shit from like Italy and France or whatever, you should still exercise. Like here's a good creative exercise. Use one tool or one color or like one note and make a song or a painting or whatever you're making. That's a great exercise. You should try it.
Yeah. It's like that guy
use
with the one string and he just fucking makes a banger.
Yeah, use one note or one word or one sentence, and then like creativity. I read this that creativity is heightened with limitation. When you have every idea and everything and every like opportunity in the world, a lot of creatives get lost, right? Because we're often living in the clouds, and when the clouds are endless, you're like, fuck, which cloud do I choose? But if you just limit yourself to one little cloud, and you're like, I'm gonna make the best fucking piece of art with this tiny little cloud, sometimes it's better than if you use the entire sky. Let's go.
Bestbuy.com. Let's go.